invested.
Welcome to the second episode of Invested, a limited podcast series hosted by me, Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and Ramiro Canovas, Fanbase's CTO. This show gives you a front-row access to the evolution of the creator economy and our active equity crowdfund on StartEngine. Each week, we'll unpack the latest news, trends, and shifts in creator monetization and platform ownership with special guests who are helping shape the future of this space. We'll spotlight how creators are earning real money, building equity, and transforming the way content powers culture. So whether you're a creator, investor, or just curious about where social media is headed, Invested gives you the knowledge and access to get ahead. Joining me on this journey again is Ramiro Canovas, Fanbase CTO, the brilliant mind behind the platform's technology. With over 20 years of engineering experience and a passion for building scalable social products, Ramiro helps ensure Fanbase is always pushing the edge of innovation for creators. What's up, man?
What a nice introduction.
Yeah.
I feel really good. Thank you, Isaac.
Yeah, man, you deserve it.
I'm super excited to be here, with this new format and new version.
Yeah.
It's exciting. So let's get started.
I'm glad to have you. So, were you on vacation?
I was on vacation.
How was
First vacation of the year.
How was it?
It was great. I was able to disconnect for a little bit.
You truly did.
I truly did, but I have a secret.
What?
In my free time, I play around with the AI a lot.
Okay.
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I didn't disconnect as much.
Okay, great. So, Ramiro was like, it's really powerful for Ramiro to not really be like, I'm glad he got a chance to disconnect because we're always plugged in. I don't mind being plugged in, but we're plugged in.
I actually didn't do my Thursday tech talk for the first time ever.
Wow.
I wanted to, prove myself. That week I was going to take it off to
just relax.
Relax, exactly.
And enjoy things.
But
okay. So, the purpose, again, of this podcast is to, number one, highlight our current equity crowdfund on StartEngine. We are raising $17 million in a Regulation A equity crowdfund on StartEngine. That means you right now have the opportunity to invest in Fanbase for the minimum of $399. You go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest and get 60 shares of stock at Fanbase at $665 a share. Also, we use this time to, again, talk about the creator economy, what's going on with Fanbase, and keep everybody up to date. So I'll hand it off to Ramiro, and we'll just get started on what we normally.
Definitely, yeah. So I'm going to ask you a few questions first because you just mentioned the raise itself, and you mentioned the minimum to invest. But I'm going to ask you some of the questions that I know some of those that are interested in investing will ask as well.
Mm-hmm.
How much can I invest and how often can I invest?
So you can invest as many times as you want. In fact, we've had people invest in Fanbase all 4 rounds. This is our 4th round of investing in Fanbase. And so we've been able to do that. And there is no minimum amount that you need to invest or maximum. The minimum you can invest is $399. There is no maximum. So if you want to take up the whole round, take up the whole round. We appreciate it. We love it. And we'll help close the round out.
That's great. So today, besides having a different format, the second episode of Invested, we also have different audiences, right?
Yeah.
Which makes it interesting, exciting. We have on Fanbase audio, which is one of our functionality inside the app. We have a lot of our users tuning in through our watch party functionality, where you can stream through YouTube and bring it inside Fanbase.
Yep.
So we also have those that are in YouTube stream. But added to that, we also have either followers or potential investors or existing investors through our StartEngine live stream. So we're podcasting, we're on Fanbase audio, we're on YouTube, and we're also on StartEngine live. So a lot of different audiences. So we're going to try to make this dynamic, but also make sure that we give enough time for everyone to ask any questions.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you have a lot of those. All right.
Of course.
All right. Well, let's get started. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit about Fanbase, where we are and where we're heading. But one of the hot topics that we all know about, it's not part of the future. It's not only part of the present, but it's a little bit part of the past, which is AI.
Yeah.
Right. And I know everyone is like, oh, you got to do AI here, AI there. So I want to ask you, Isaac, because Isaac Hayes is not only a tech founder, but you're also a creator yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to share from your perspective as a creator, how you use AI and how that has helped you to become a better creator, because I think it's important toward our topic.
Well, I mean, for me, AI serves as a second brain, which is what actually ChatGPT told me to use AI as a second brain. Don't rely on it, but use it to enhance the things that you already do. So I use it in everything.
Yeah.
But from a creative space, a lot of even how we were able to launch this podcast so fast was because of AI.
Yeah.
You know, creating artwork, transitions, things like that. AI really helps. It adds to the creative flow of what makes all this stuff interesting and fun and exciting. I encourage everybody to lean into AI, because if you're not, you can either do one or two things: abandon the whole thing together, go the way of just disconnect, or really lean into it, because there's some really amazing things that can help you with your business, help you with creativity, speed up progress. I saw somebody talking about this before, that every time with the invention of technology, people think that they're going to work less, but they wind up working more because we're more efficient. It's like, rather than now you can do twice as much work in the same amount of time in a day. So you're just going to wind up working more, but more efficient.
Yeah, definitely. I remember back in the day when I was in college, a phrase that was stuck in my mind was always, people use technology a lot of times to drive business decisions, when in reality you should use technology to support and empower business decision. We're in the middle of a revolution, right? AI is a revolution.
Absolutely.
And I love what you said, where you got to use it to empower yourself. And by doing that, you end up doing more things that you did before, just better, quicker, more efficiently, right?
100%.
I wanna bring that back to Fanbase, because I know one of the questions that we get from investors or even users is, all right, where is Fanbase with AI? What's your posture with AI? And I wanted to spend very briefly on that, but then I want to ask you a very important question on that. Okay, so we talked about AI all the time, and we know it's here. We believe in AI in different in different layers, let's call it that way.
Mm-hmm.
At the creator side, you already mentioned it, right? We're looking at how AI could make life easier and more efficient for a creator, right? How can you create better? How can you have better insights through AI that allows you to monetize your content better, right?
Correct.
So we are analyzing or we're taking AI within the product in layers that really empowers the creator, like you said, right?
Yeah.
Not replace it. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And then on the organizational side, you've been talking my ear off for a long time. I was like, hey, how we look into agentic AI? Could we speed up our development process, right? We're also looking at our processes and how AI can help us be more efficient and more scalable. Again, not replace necessarily, but make us more efficient so we can ship better, ship fast, and do things like that, right? So with that in mind, I've been hearing from a lot of creators and creators community the fear of creators being replaced.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a big topic.
100%.
Right? And tell us a little bit about, I know there's been some stories out there about how brands are starting to use AI. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I want to go back to what Fanbase stands for and how we are different, even in the implementation of AI to other platforms. So let's talk a little bit about what you've seen out there, some of the hot topics that you've seen on AI and creators, and what you've seen out there.
I mean, I think businesses are going to do whatever they can do to cut costs and increase profits. And in the world of content creation, that means creating AI influencers, platforms using AI. And I don't believe that that's the way to go, but those decisions are being made by companies that are looking at a profit-centered business where they are thinking about making money first before the creator. We're different than that over here, because Fanbase focuses on the benefit of the creator first. So if you do well, we do well. That's not how it really works on traditional social media platforms, because now they're trying to squeeze as much ad revenue out of the platform as they can. They're trying to cut back on the ability to have to spend so much in hosting and doing all these different things. And for advertisers, it's really hard because a lot of creators make money off brand deals.
Yeah.
And so now using AI influencers, they don't have to pay brand deals. They just create them and do that. The mistake that I think that is being made is that human beings know what's real and what's fake. I'm sorry. Like I can tell.
Oh yeah.
I can tell an AI generated ad from another. And I think that human connection and that interest that people have in really being connected, especially if it's somebody that's known. It's like, okay, you can't replace Kobby Lame, you know what I'm saying? Unless he allows you to clone him and then pay him that way, which is fine.
There's always something, right?
Yeah, it's something like that. But it's like you can't replace him. So when you put creator, AI creator number 12 up there, I don't think that that's really what happens, because people really want to trust from another person what they're buying. That's the part that's important.
Yeah.
It's like, if I'm going to buy this product, I want to know that the person that's telling me to buy this is someone that uses the product, knows the product, cares about me, I'm related to, understands, relatable, all that kind of stuff. And so creators are really facing fear with that. I don't know how far these platforms are going to take it. In my opinion, I think it's a mistake. I think the reality of IRL, which is in real life content that makes people really connect with creators, is how you're going to be able to sell products. It's the person that's using something that's in real time that you see that's relatable to you.
Yeah.
That makes it kind of something that you want to buy, you want to participate in, not something by AI.
Yeah, I love that. That connection is so important, right? No matter how much we can use AI and how we can make our life easy, we're humans after all, right?
Yes.
Especially when you're trying to identify yourself to a brand. Let's go back into the why Fanbase, because I think it does relate to what you just mentioned, right? One of the things that we love about what we're doing is that our business model is different than all the rest.
100%.
Right? So we're not about the platform.
No.
We are all about the creator, right? So talk a little bit about that, why Fanbase is different, and then we'll go back into this AI topic, because I think it's super relevant and why I think we're going to be different at that level too.
Yeah, so what Ramiro's talking about is we don't traditionally run ads. Ours is a revenue share model based platform, which means we don't make money until you make money. So what that does is it keeps us focused on creating the best outcome and the best scenario for the creator. So then always use Outcast for those that don't know from elevators. If you don't move your feet, then we don't eat. So we like neck to neck. So if you don't wind up doing well on Fanbase, we don't wind up doing well. So we always have to be creator centered and creator focused, which a lot of these platforms are not. They're revenue focused about getting those ad dollars and making themselves richer. So what I love about that is in every decision that we make, we're thinking about how we can improve the experience for the creator and the user on the platform. It really makes us, different. We care.
It does.
In a way that I think a lot of these platforms do not care. I know that money is a big part of it, or attention, the visibility to appear in algorithms, and that's very enticing. But at the end of the day, that's also a means to an end, because I know tons of creators that get millions and millions of views and don't make any money off of these platforms. I actually saw there was a post about how much each creator is paying, each platform is paying per million views, and a lot of people were like, "That's not true," because I got 10 million views on my videos, and Instagram and TikTok hadn't paid me anything. Yeah. That's also limited to also biases.
Yeah.
So here's another thing: if you are into things that might not be brand safe, so if you listen to rap music that might have some curse words in it, or if the algorithm doesn't like the clothes that you have on and think it's not brand safe, or you're saying things or doing things, then they're also going to limit the ability for you to monetize. And so again, there's biases towards that, because then creators are punished for trying to just do what they normally do, and they don't get paid for it.
Yeah, it's and that layer before AI already existed, right? The algorithms were dictaminating a lot of these things, and they were diminishing the creator. And now that we talked about AI being in the mix and not being used to empower the creators, but rather see if we can replace them and squeeze some money out of that, that makes it even worse, especially for a lot of creators that they really do great content. And because of who they are, even what they look like, and what kind of content they do, they're not being considered.
Well, I want to talk about that too, because when it comes to AI and the way that these models are trained, and let's be real, like AI is not really good at Black people yet. Let's get it. I mean, and a lot of the AI avatars have misrepresented Black people in stereotypes in certain things that they wear and they say and the tone of voice and how they say things. And
It's 5:20 p.m.
Harmful is misleading to the creators that you're being represented as this individual. AI is using you and using Black people in a way that misrepresents the total culture of Black people. And then we already face a wage gap. Black creators already face a 35% less wage gap than white creators. And so AI is just going to widen that, and it threatens inequity in those areas as well, which I just think sucks because, again, creators should not be just forced to have to rely on platforms to pay them directly. And I want to have that conversation in a second because I think that's important, about platforms that pay creators as opposed to platforms that allow creators to monetize. There's a difference.
Oh yeah, big time. For those that join late, either through the StartEngine live stream, YouTube stream, or through our Fanbase audio, I want just to do a brief recap because they're hearing us talking about AI.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, let them know if they're interested in investing in Fanbase,
Mm-hmm.
where they can go. Number two is just if you can briefly share what you said, how AI would empower creators versus replacing. I think that would be important so everyone understand the context.
Yeah.
And we'll continue with our conversation.
So Invested, again, is our podcast always about the creator economy, investing in creators, but also investing in Fanbase. What I didn't say is where we are in our raise. Yeah. So we're raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on StartEngine. And right now we are currently at $12,830,000. So we're getting closer to 13 million, right? And once we get to 13 million, it's 4 million to go. And that's pretty cool. And so if anybody wants to invest, you go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest, or invest.fanbase.app, right? And those are the only two places where you can invest in Fanbase. Last week, one of the questions was, what are you going to do about people trying to impersonate you? And I told them, I'm like, look, verification matters. I'm verified on Fanbase. I'm verified on a lot of other socials. I'll never hit you and ask you to send me a Cash at me, Venmo me, do it through crypto, give me your bank account information. I'll never do that. In fact, StartEngine serves as an intermediary where you can go and invest in Fanbase. They are SEC regulated, so that's how the money passes through, how we're able to offer these securities to the general public. And they're the custodian of your shares. That's where you make your StartEngine account. That's what holds your shares in Fanbase. So everything starts with making a StartEngine account and then either following the Fanbase campaign or investing in Fanbase. When it comes to AI, again, I think reality in real life is going to matter. Social media is so much about connectivity.
Yep.
It's about real human connection. I think there's some really cool, fun things we've talked about doing with AI in that space, but it'll never replace people communicating with people and community. And what Fanbase is really all about is community first. It's community building. It's having fun. It's creating content. And then it's giving users the ability to monetize content.
Love that. Let's talk a little bit about the monetization aspect that you just mentioned as well. Let's first, for those that don't know, share with everyone how was the revenue model today for Fanbase. And also let's talk a little bit about the making money in Fanbase versus other platforms, specifically about the time that it takes.
Yeah.
And we'll take it from there. So
wait.
First, let's talk about the revenue model for Fanbase.
Okay, so the revenue model for Fanbase is subscriptions. So back when I came up with this idea, I wanted to build an app that allow people to subscribe to people the same way that you would subscribe to Netflix or you would subscribe to Spotify. And so, but I wanted it to be in-app purchase capability, right? Let's tell that story briefly though, if we got time, because I want to take us through that journey, because that's important, that because we went on this journey together. So first came up with the idea. We said we wanted to do subscriptions and we wanted to use in-app purchase capability to do so. What did Apple tell us in the beginning?
We couldn't, say limitation at the tech stack layer.
Yeah, they said no, basically, and I was scared shitless. Like I was like, because we had already started building the app. And so Ramiro, this is a good story. So Ramiro says, no, we can't do it the way they want to. And one of the things that I remember specifically is that he says, no, listen to what they're saying. We can't build subscriptions the way that we want to, but we can build subscriptions. And so our initial idea was just that you set a price for a subscription, you're able to purchase that subscription to subscribe to someone, and then the user gets money. What Apple told us and these other platforms is basically on the back end, they keep something for you called a subscription profile. And in that profile, that's how they know that a user is subscribed to Netflix or subscribed to whatever. Apple's words were, we're not going to let you create an app where potentially someone could subscribe to 20 people and you wind up with 10 million users and we got 2 billion subscription profiles to keep up with.
Yeah.
So that had me really, really nervous. But Ramiro said, listen. So he says, we can bend the rules. We're going to break them. And he goes, if we do this, you're about to do something that no one has ever done. I got excited. He's like, listen, he's like, that means you're about to do something that no one has ever done. So the original version of Fanbase allowed you to subscribe to one person, which was a profile, 3 people, you swap out the 1 for the 3, which is a profile, and a 3, 4, 5, right? And we launched with that. Then again, 2022, we hear they're letting them do subscriptions. Like they're letting other platforms, mainly Instagram, come up with subscriptions. And we reached out to Apple and said, how can Instagram do subscriptions the way that we wanted to, but we couldn't? And I'm not going to say who said that, our person at Apple, but they said Apple had a change of heart of how they view subscriptions.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
For you was the future.
Yeah, they had to realize, like, okay, these guys are onto something, because now we've democratized the distribution of content, not through platforms, but through people.
Yeah.
And that's the fan-based model. It's disseminating content through an individual and not necessarily a Netflix. So remember, like, think of yourself as on Fanbase, you are Netflix, you are Hulu, you are Disney Plus. And so there's nothing in between you and anybody on the planet that has Fanbase and your content that you put behind paywalls through subscription in one of the 6 formats we have that allows you to be that. Also, we have micro tipping, right? And that's a new word that I hear, is micro tipping, through currency we call love. So you like on platforms, which is one way, which is free engagement to acknowledge that you enjoy what somebody's doing. And then I wanted to take it a step further and say, well, not only do I like this, I love it. And so love is a heart icon on Fanbase. On other platforms, the heart icon means like, but that don't really mean like.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that a heart means love. So a thumbs up on Fanbase is a like, a heart on Fanbase is a love. And every time somebody loves one of your pieces of content, you make half a penny. That adds up. And that's the revenue model for Fanbase.
Love it. So let's talk a little bit about the revenue process as a creator, right? Because I do want to mention some of the very interesting insights that we know of. We talked about the amount of money that it takes. And now with AI, that's probably going to be even diminished even more, right?
Yeah.
The amount of money that it takes a creator to make their first dollar in any other social media out there.
So the average time it takes for an individual to earn $1 on social media platforms is 6 months. So you got to be on TikTok, Instagram, all these other platforms. It takes you 6 months of using the platform before you can make your first $1. On Fanbase, people are making that first $1 in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks to 6 months is a big deal. And that doesn't necessarily mean, in my opinion, that you don't have all these hurdles to jump through, all these enormous processes that you have to jump through. You can start making money from day one on the platform. We see people making money on Fanbase as soon as it happens. Like, people making money the first couple minutes, couple hours, couple days on the platform. And we love that.
Let's talk about the concept of the creator itself. I remember when we first met, one of the things that you always believed is that everyone is a creator. They just might not know it, or they might get overwhelmed or saying that's too tough. So take a little bit about the concept of the creator for us at Fanbase.
So I believe that every single person on social media that's using social media that engages in any way is a content creator. And what I mean by that is, if you're in the comment section, you're creating content, right? If you are in the DMs, you're creating content. All of these things is how people engage. So not only if you post photos and videos and all that kind of stuff, the comment section has become part of the universe of social media. It's become part of the whole thing that everybody's into. Everybody runs to the comment section. It's like everybody knows if you see something funny on social media, you're going to run to the comment section. If you see somebody with a crazy outfit on or somebody doing something totally ridiculous.
Even on X.
Yeah, right. You know that they're like, okay, there's got to be commentary around what just happened. And so you too are a content creator. What I like about Fanbase is that even in those moments, the ability for someone to tip you for your participation in those things is there with love. So even in this chat room, anybody that's looking at
giving love away,
giving love away inside the chat right now, and I'm looking right now, you can give love by what you say. So a comment, you can show love on a comment, you can show love in the chat, you can show love in the DMs, all those places. So that really is a great way to do that. Now, I didn't get a chance to touch on this, but I want to talk about this.
Yes.
I was on another platform, another audio platform.
Okay.
This week. And some of the people on the platform were really upset, which was funny because they were like, how come Fanbase?
Hold on. Were they upset enough to leave and come to Fanbase? Or upset?
Right, exactly. They were not upset enough to leave and come to Fanbase.
Okay.
But they were upset.
Okay.
But the question was asked, how come you're not paying so-and-so? How come you're not paying these audio creators that are on these apps, right? That are on your app and XYZ. And I'm like, well, first of all, it's not really a sustainable business model. It's not a sustainable business model for platforms to the platform itself to pay creators. So if you think about platforms like TikTok and Instagram, the platform is not paying you. They're taking some of the ad revenue that they're making and sharing that with you and paying you. That's different than a platform paying you directly.
Yep.
It's not a sustainable business model. So for people out there that are wondering why platforms are not just cutting checks to creators, you can't pay everybody in that fashion. What also tends to happen is on a lot of these platforms, they're not going to let you make money until they make money. Their goal is to monetize you. You have to be the product first and foremost before they can allow money. And even on this one platform, they've been around, in audio longer than we have. And they definitely launched a platform where you can pay them to have extra photos, stuff like that. But they still have not provided a way for the creators to monetize and make money, which is really what, we puff our chest up about. We are the first platform that brought a social app that brought the ability for people to monetize directly to consumers. That's before Snapchat. That's before Instagram. That's before TikTok. That's before YouTube, using in-app purchase capability, no credit card. We're the ones to do that.
Yeah, I love that. So let's shift a little bit gears and go back to the AI conversation, because I know that some people join late and so on. So we talked about what's happening today, where we have some platforms that they are using AI not necessarily to empower creators like we want to do here in Fanbase, but are trying to basically replace them so they can squeeze that money and try to make more money for less effort, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about how we're going to translate that how we translate that in Fanbase, right? For creators. And also, Let's talk specifically about those that are undeserved, the creators. You have, the Black creators that they already struggling today, and now you have AI that is replacing them. What can you tell them as a Black creator yourself, how they can utilize AI to, empower themselves, to improve themselves?
Well,
Especially in the, in what we're seeing out there in all the other social medias.
well, I think, not necessarily creating the difference between a platform or a brand creating an AI creator. You can use AI to expand your reach and your ability. I'll give you a good example. A lot of people are doing this right now. Let's say you're a content creator or a podcaster or a YouTuber. You can use AI to translate your voice into other languages. So a lot of podcasts are putting the English version out, and then they're taking their voices.
I heard you in Spanish. Sure,
Yeah.
you sound good in Spanish,
Exactly.
man.
And they're using AI to translate their voice into Spanish, and then reach larger audiences, and translate their voices into Chinese and in German and French. And so now these other these countries with other languages, now your content is not limited by a language barrier.
Yeah.
So that's a really great way to utilize AI to expand your reach. Also, I always use like people are now creating AI avatars themselves. I want to do that. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to do it.
I know you do.
I've cloned my voice.
You love experimenting with AI.
I've already cloned my voice. I've cloned my voice, and I've used it, and people didn't even know that it was me. I use it on content sometimes, because then you can mass produce content and use it in a way that was like, all right, cool, I can read and do all these things. I don't have to use my voice all the time. I can just type out a bunch of prompts and use that to create amazing content. And that's saving time.
Well, I did tell you that now there's starting to be all these companies who are formalizing cloning yourself through AI.
Yeah.
Basically,
tell them which way you mean cloning, though.
like, I mean cloning in the sense where you can put yourself into being inside a platform anywhere, and gets into your brain. You basically clone your brain, your personality, everything. It's scary because it's evolving, right?
Yeah.
And then they're formalizing that, and they're creating these, I know that they're calling avatars, but they're really these AI versions of you. And they're using that and integrating that throughout the ecosystem. Examples, you're in a large company and you want to talk to the CEO. Now you can talk to the CEO. You're not talking to the CEO, you're talking to the AI image of the CEO. Or if you want to talk to the founder through a chat,
Right.
not even knowing that. So there's a lot of creative, but also some other ways that they're hitting that border level where, you're starting to lose that authenticity, right, that you're talking about. So it's definitely interesting. It's exciting. It can be dangerous, but what I always tell everyone is, you have those that say, hey, I need to get into something that AI can take over.
Mhm.
But the mindset should be, you know what, I need to use AI to get a better version of myself, empower myself, do these better, or do more things better. So
Yeah.
I
I see something funny in the chat.
Yeah.
And I really want to do this. So let everybody know that just because you put this in the chat, Ike Jackson, want to do this. Ask Isaac AI Room. Ask all the investors questions we want.
Yeah.
Right?
No, yeah. Well,
Exactly.
so I did mention earlier that we are working with AI at different layers, right? We have the product itself, which all you guys use, but also in the organization itself. And as part of the organization, to me, one of the biggest problems with AI in organizations is the dissemination of information through different AI models. You have one guy that is using ChatGPT, another one is using Claude, and so on, right? So the idea is, how can we centralize all that valuable information that is being fed to the different brains, and then start creating integrations and products out of that? An example is exactly what you said. How amazing would it be for having an audio room where we have Isaac available at all times answering questions, right? So that's a little bit of the direction that we're going. But I feel like a lot of companies, even platforms, are trying to just jump. They're trying to implement AI just because it's AI.
Right.
But they're not going through the basics and the rail guards of the right way of implementing AI to give true value and make sure that it's relevant too. So that's a little bit of the challenge, and why sometimes it takes longer than we would like. But, as part of this race also is,
Mm-hmm.
for us to be able to invest in AI, not only in the product, but also as an organization to continue becoming more scalable and doing things better.
Yeah, I think you can't replace people. You can, I know that images and sounds, I think what AI is going to provide is, well, I'll say this. I feel like these platforms are making their stake leaning so heavy into AI because they're getting away from the things that reality is really what matters to people. Real life. I was talking about this late last week that, the most watched program on television is football. People watch, in the United States of America, people watch American football all the time. It's the most watched. And the reason why is you don't know what's going to happen. Real life matters because you don't know what's going to happen. Even so much to the point now that last season they changed the distance in which you kick an extra point. And people were missing extra points. So you used to, before anybody kick an extra point, that was the time to go to the bathroom. Anytime somebody score a touchdown, let me go use the bathroom real quick. We know they about to get the extra point. Now they missed about half them joints last year. So you really are locked in. And so real life, that was just one little tweak that increased retention in football. That's why real life matters so much and people really care about what's going to happen. And so I think reality is going to matter so much that, with live streaming and people being able to communicate in real time, the chat is part of the conversation now.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to be in a room full of a whole bunch of AI chatbots. I like everybody that's in the audio room right now as we're live on Fanbase and that real engagement and that real conversation, because you just don't know what's going to happen next.
Definitely. So,
So Andy, do we have questions? Is that what you said?
I was gonna say, I was gonna leave we're good. We can start taking some of the questions that we have there.
First question for today is, how does an investor who does not do content on the site get paid from the initial investment?
So the investment that you're making in Fanbase is like a seed level investment, a pre-IPO investment, right? So that means you ride the life cycle of the company. So every private company that's ever existed has raised money in a private fashion. The difference is that now through equity crowdfunding and the Jobs Act, it allows the general public to have access to invest in startups in a way that were only reserved for rich people who either made made $200,000 a year for 2 consecutive years or had $1 million worth of net worth minus their house, right? Minus their residence. And so you're investing in Fanbase the same way that early investors were allowed to invest in other social apps like Twitter, like Facebook, like Instagram. It's just you're not one of the already rich people. Now, once that happens, you ride the life cycle of the company to one of, 3 or 4 eventualities, 3 of which are liquidity events. And the liquidity event is just one of 3 actions, which is a merger, an IPO, or an acquisition. And so in those scenarios, someone would acquire Fanbase at the new value that the company is at the time that you bought it. So right now we're valued at $160 million. If Fanbase gets to when Fanbase gets to higher valuations, and if somebody wants to acquire the company and we feel that's something that we want to do, then Fanbase will be acquired and every person that has stock in that company will be paid at the new value of what the company is. Going public is selling the company to the general public. We take a portion of the company, put it on the stock exchange, allow people to buy shares in it. Typically at that point, most people that are seed investors in companies choose to exit the company. So the seed investors usually decide to sell their stock, on, the first opening day or so, and then cash out. So that's why when you hear sometimes companies get acquired, they go public, everybody sells their stock when the moment it hits the stock exchange and cash out. Now you can decide to keep your money into the company and keep growing with the company if you want to see your stock continue to grow. But that's how, as an investor, you make money with Fanbase without having to create content and getting subscriptions, is by investing in the company, riding the life cycle of the business, and then being there for a liquidity event.
Love that. So we have a few more questions here. And some of them are more tech-oriented, but I'm going to try to get the ones on the reggae.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said, what are your plans after closing this round? Series A? What's happening?
Well, I think the goal for Fanbase is always to be sustainable through revenue. But sometimes you want to grow faster and grow bigger, and you take on additional capital just to add a little bit more rocket fuel to what you're doing. So for now, once this raise closes, we're still focused on retention, increasing our MAU, becoming independent of some of the technologies that we use now in the company, just really being able to be free to build in ways that we want to do. And so that's what this raise provides us to do. And something that Justin mentioned last week, which a lot of times people don't ever really consider, is that raising capital provides you also the opportunity to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Right? To say, we tried this, it didn't work.
Well, we call it experiment.
Yeah, and a lot of it is experimentation. It's like we experiment one way, it worked, this didn't work, and so we try again. And so it's not like people launch companies and they get everything right out of the gate. But what you don't want is, and especially in with Black founders, I'll say it's a lot of times, you don't want it to be like, okay, business is over, project is dead, close the business down. A lot of times other businesses are allowed to be funded infinitely until they are successful. That's why this raise is important, because, we're on to something phenomenal here, but we want to be able to move faster. And then also with the raise, it gives us the ability to bring on more amazing personnel to Fanbase. I've asked somebody to join the pod next week. I don't know. Matter of fact, I think I just want to do it. I'm going to say this right now. I think I want to do it with just her next week. But guess who I asked to join the pod?
You guys heard that, right?
Hold on, but listen who I guess who I want to join the pod next week?
Who?
Lauren.
Okay. All right.
Lauren, she's a little nervous, but for people who don't know,
she's gonna do great. She did great in my tech talk.
Yeah, Lauren is the product owner here at Fanbase. She's kind of like my BFF between the development team. And so she makes sure that everything is running smooth with Fanbase and how we do it, but it'll be good. But the ability to bring on really great personnel and talented people, that's what the raise is about. So our plan is just to keep building and growing. Yeah,
definitely. I'm going to try to answer some of the questions, the technical questions, talking a little bit about our roadmap and what's coming soon. We had some questions about potential integrations in the future in our watch party functionality. The answer is yes. Isaac mentioned that our number one focus is retention.
Yeah.
And also we're exploring new and different revenue avenues, always thinking about the creator first.
100%.
Again, that always makes it fun. We're working on a brand new version of the algorithm.
Yes.
But guess what? The algorithm is not ad-centric. It's creator-centric, right? And content-centric. So as we work on retention, and we're working on retention by simplifying a lot of journeys inside the platform, how you search for content and creators, how you create content, right? And that also will eventually be related to how we implement AI in the future and how we make your life easier to become a better creator, not to replace you.
Right.
It's very important. So we're doing all these things that are coming up very soon, and we're super excited. Maybe that's one of the topics that Lauren can talk about next week.
I'm excited. She was like, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what we're going to talk about, but her perspective is really unique. And I think it's a great opportunity for investors and the community and even people on the app to learn about her.
Yeah, a different voice, because every time we talked about the roadmap and technology, it would always come from me, my Thursday Tech Talk.
Yeah.
So it's always great to talk from someone that even comes from a different background as well.
100%.
Yeah. So something that I want to mention as well as part of the roadmap, I did mention that we are, we're looking into new revenue avenues for our creators, right? We're experimenting a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to do with what you said. Our number one priority is also how we can become self-sustainable, generate more revenue as well. So I want to mention as well, because we had some questions about, hey, are you guys thinking about a Fanbase marketplace? Are you thinking about, we're definitely considering e-commerce as a way of revenue in the future. We are considering as well, as AI grows and as all those AI models have been trained, We're also considering how we can benefit the creator and the content they create to generate revenue out of that as well. So we're looking at a lot of creative ways to really make you more successful. We talked about it takes 2 weeks for someone to make $1 in Fanbase.
Yeah.
For us, if we wake up every morning and says, okay, how can we get them as quickly as possible
Make $1 a week. Or
to get the $5 so you can get paid out, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of exciting things that is coming down the pipeline, and this investment is allowing us to do, and I'm excited about it.
Andy, do you see any other questions in there? I always like to say, Andy's here, everybody. If you don't see, Andy's a producer of Invested. He's behind the scenes, but you'll hear his voice come in from time to time.
That's an amazing job, but if you have complaints, Andy's the one to.
Yeah, right.
The only other question I saw was,
Can we look at the StartEngine as well? Just in case we have anyone, any questions there? Yeah.
I know a question on Fanbase was, what is the difference between an investor and a partner?
An investor and a partner? So partnerships are like creators, businesses that we work with in conjunction with the app. An investor is someone that actually puts money and actually sits on the cap table of the company. So you sit on the cap table of the company, you own equity shares in the platform. Partnerships is our ways that we can align with brands, creators, other entities to maximize their experience on Fanbase that's beneficial to them and beneficial to us, to create unique experiences, opportunities. We've had some partnerships in the past. We've done MAC Cosmetics as a partnership. Who else have we done as a partnership? We did a partnership with Propel, Apple's nonprofit. Who else have we done? Is that it?
No, I mean, we have a lot of partnerships in the pipeline now that are working, but I don't want to mention because marketing is going to get me in trouble.
Right. We don't want to say, we don't want to say some of the other partnerships that we have coming up, but those are really, really interesting things and ways for us to kind of connect and expand our relationships.
But it's a great question because, the reality is that yes, an investment helps us grow, helps us become more scalable, but a partnership is also super valuable to us. A partnership not only can bring mutual value, but can bring audiences, can grow our Fanbase community, can also bring revenue opportunities, right? So in some ways, it's kind of an investment as well. So I just wanted to, on top of what you said, mention how important partnerships are for us. Again, we're a small team, so we're trying to be very efficient with the type of partnerships that we do where we need to go next.
But let's talk about that real quick though.
Yeah.
So with this raise, let everybody know, like, we've added a lot of people to the team.
Yeah, we've done.
A name, like, we don't have to name everybody. Name all the people, because how many extra people have we added to the team?
Well, it's been a very hectic past, I would say, 3 to 4 months for us. We added around 20 people across the board. One of the things that we realized as we experimented, as we grew as a company, is that really investing in the forefront of product development was a really great way of creating great product. You mentioned you want to build the best platform for creators in the world, right? So we brought, product owners, business analysts, new Scrum Masters, really professionals that helps us really shape the requirements and what the creators really want. Not what we want, but what the creators really want. Before we even put any line of code, right? A lot of time people think that building an app is like, get it like 1,000 engineers and you're good. And there's so much more. So we've been investing a lot, thanks to this investment, into the forefront of development. We also have brought some technical skill set as well. And also we've grown our marketing side. This week, we have a new multimedia designer who I'm very excited to eventually introduce to everyone. Yeah. Because it's not only to build great product, but also how you conveyed all the value that you're giving to creators. And that's why our marketing and product marketing team is also important in our growth and why we've been hiring there as well.
Yeah. I'll take this question. We'll take this. Read that question in the chat because that's a real technical question. You want to answer that question?
I mean, I've seen several. Is that the last one? Which one?
The Williams White.
Williams White. Are they working on the overheating and battery drain and crashes?
So I didn't know. So this is a question I'm gonna ask you. So can there be energy consumption between apps?
Yes. So this is something that we are aware that we're working on as we develop. So, you mentioned Fanbase has 6 different type of content formats, 6 different verticals. So imagine grabbing Clubhouse, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube,
and putting it
all
all
in
together.
one native application, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of functionality, a lot of media. So one of the challenges that we have is also how can we bring those worlds together and make sure that the experience is seamless and also doesn't consume much energy, much data. So as we grow as a company, we also brought some skill sets that can help us improve our architecture, our data consumption. So when you're in an audio room, no matter if you are in Ghana or if you are in Argentina, the way you're consuming data is efficient to your phone and your app because that goes into the app experience itself. So there's a lot of layers into building an app, especially an app like Fanbase, but we're considering it. So as we, for example, refactor the way you are going to be able to create content, we're looking, okay, how will the data, without taking quality away, because for a creator, the quality of the content is important, right? How can we make that efficient? So we're getting better. There's still a lot of work to be done. We need, we're still doing, thousands of engineer type job with just a small team. But I think we're definitely looking into that and seeing because we understand that happens. And we're definitely going to be improving that experience for sure.
I think that's great. I mean, like I said, we're learning, we're growing, we're getting better every second of every day. I want to talk about briefly before we go, the process of actually investing in Fanbase.
Yeah, that's important.
Because we get those questions too, like how do I invest in Fanbase? I spoke about some of these things briefly, but the way to invest in Fanbase, first and foremost, is go to startengine.com/Fanbase. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. You will sit on the cap table of this company and own it with the over, I don't know how many investors we have. I don't know, 29, 30,000 investors. It's a lot.
It's we have close to 29.
29K investors that we have. So first and foremost, you will make a StartEngine account. Go to startengine.com, create an account. There you will find a Fanbase on StartEngine, or you'll already be there and say, I want to invest. Once you invest, that money goes into escrow, which means we don't have that and you don't have that. During the time, there's a regulatory background check that StartEngine does to make sure that you're not trying to launder money, because sometimes people try to launder money.
Yeah.
And we don't want people to launder money through the raise. Once that's done, you will get a notification, some sort of email to confirm your investment. This is the most critical part about investing in Fanbase, because if you do not confirm your investment could possibly be sent back to you. And there have been times that people feel like they've invested in Fanbase and have not confirmed their investment because the SEC wants to make sure that you feel like you're making the absolute decision you want to make and not just rushing into an investment. And we're comfortable with that. We're fine with that. We've been successful, with going through that process. And then once that happens, that money gets sent to us. And once that money gets dispersed to Fanbase, you are then investing in Fanbase. And so that's the process of investing in Fanbase. It can take anywhere from 2 days to about a week, but people are really, happy about investing in the product, and that's how you're able to become part owner in the company.
Definitely. We are right at the top of the hour.
Mm-hmm.
We good on time, Andy? Or
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I want to make sure. I know some of you ask some questions. If you want to partner or you want to bring any type of sponsorship opportunities to Fanbase, you can email us at partner@fanbase.app. We also have a partner section in our website. So if you go to fanbase.app, you're going to see a partner section there where you can see more information. But we're all about partnerships. So they're very welcome. Okay. Someone said, will there ever be more marketing or advertising tools added to get the content in front of more eyes? So we're definitely looking, like I mentioned, that when I talk about revenue opportunities, we're looking across the board, right? So we are looking at, how a non-disruptive creator-led advertising model would look like eventually in the future.
Want to explain what a
Fanbase?
non-disruptive creator advertising model is?
Yeah.
So non-disruptive creator advertising is when you're on platforms like Instagram, TikTok, they're never letting you reach all the people that follow you because you yourself would have the reach equivalent to them. And so brands would come and pay you and not pay them to advertise. So that is restricted. So if you have 10 million followers, they're not going to let you reach 10 million people. They're going to limit your visibility and smush that down to about 3 to 5% of your following so that advertisers have to come and advertise through them to run ads because it's a free market. You know, if you have 10 million, if you can reach 10 million people at will, then brands would come and pay you and not pay Instagram, TikTok, and so on and so forth. So we want to create non-disruptive advertising that doesn't limit your reach, but still allows you the ability and allows us the ability to run advertising.
Yeah. Again, we wake up every day thinking about the creator, how can they have a better experience and their audiences, how they can make more money in the quickest way possible, and also how we can use AI or they can use AI to empower them as creators, not replace them.
Yeah, we you know, AI again, as much as I love AI, nothing is going to really, you know, replace humans by way of social media and the way that we want to engage. We want to have real connections. It's kind of one of the things that I said before. This is interesting. Something that I used to say all the time is that live musicianship, it's just something about hearing real instruments played by human hands. It's more of an organic connection.
It is.
When EDM was out, I like EDM, I got it, but real musicianship, you know that there's somebody behind the piano that's a human being on the other side of what you're playing, and it's expressive and it's live.
It's a beauty.
It's connected, it's emotional, and so again, AI music is here. Don't worry about that, but it's not the same as hearing somebody really just connect.
Or seeing their expressions while they're playing.
Exactly.
Singing.
Exactly.
A lot of times I lose myself just like, oh my God, look, it's like playing
100%.
guitar and piano.
So those are things that are special. And so as much as AI can be used as a resource and tool, we want to make sure over at Fanbase that we're providing the tools to enhance, but not replace creativity and creators.
Yes, amen to that. So we're at the top of the hour. I'm going to let you do the outro. This is exciting. You know, we're changing the structure. Second episode of Invested.
I love this.
Yeah. So if it's your first time, we welcome you to join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. This will be, it is being recorded and it will be available through podcast.
All podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon. You can listen there. We also will be premiering every episode of Invested on Roland Martin's YouTube channel, which is amazing. He's a great partner. And catch those episodes there and those segments. And then I actually might do a watch party tonight to recap last week's episode. But there's some real nuggets of information and news that we're given there.
I love you. I love the energy.
To be able to do that so people know. So thanks for everybody tuning in. Again, we are raising $17 million on a Regulation A equity crowdfund on StartEngine. That means you can go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. The minimum to invest is $399. This is not a donation. This is not GoFundMe. This is not Kickstarter. This is real equity to sit on the cap table of an emerging social media platform that you can own. And I'm doing this intentionally because who better than to give the opportunity of ownership than the actual people and the individuals that actually make the platform what it is, that are the ones that make Fanbase a success. Most people don't get the opportunity to invest in startups in that fashion. And I've seen multiple instances where we've kind of met the demands or met the moment where people or creators were displaced or locked out of opportunity. And that's where we came to do what we came to do. Audio was birthed out of a whole bunch of creators not being allowed to invest in Clubhouse. And I was like, well, we need to build audio to allow audio creators to own the platforms that they bring their voice to and do that. So if you are on Clubhouse, if you are on X, and you're one of those individuals that feel like you have an amazing voice, an amazing audience, and you're not getting compensated in the way that you should be, then you should be investing in Fanbase and actually owning part of the platform used, because then now your effort is not in vain. It's actually increasing the value of an asset that you own. So thank you to everybody for tuning in for our second episode of Invested. We will be back next week. Same time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on all podcast platforms and Fanbase. All right.
All right.
We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.